All the time we spent, wonder where it went. Why must time move on? Why must we grow apart?
You know how to ball. Good evening, and welcome to the Final Picture Show podcast. We're here for a little Halloween bonus episode because, well, what is a podcast about movies without a Halloween bonus episode? I think it's like an obligatory thing you got to do. Otherwise, ICE will come for you. I think that's part of the rules of ICE. If you don't do a Halloween or a Christmas episode, they have to come and try to deport you as well. I think that's part of it. But in spite of that, we are continuing what we've been doing all October, which is looking at movies that are not from America, because, hey, that's fun. And tonight, I'm with someone who also probably wishes someday she wasn't from America. And that is my wife, Miranda. Say hello.
Hello, ghouls and goblins.
Yeah, Skulls and Goblins. Hello, hello. Yeah, she's here to talk to us about a movie that she chose, which is a Canadian movie. So another one of those. Slither. And why Slither?
Because you gave me a choice of like 8 movies.
Yeah, so here are the choices that she chose between. An American Haunting, the one with Donald Sutherland. These are just random movies I grabbed from our movie collection, which is, there's a lot of movies in there. It's almost like a small little, like, I wouldn't say it's enough to like open a store or anything like that with, but it's a good selection. If the internet went out and all we had was physical media, we could watch a new movie every day for years and be okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, we would have a couple of years of movies. So these were just random ones that I chose with no particular like agenda in mind, just random horror movies that looked interesting. It was an American Haunting, the one with Donald Sutherland and Rachel Hurd Wood and James Darcy and Sissy Spacek. No idea if it's good or not. I don't think I've ever actually seen this. Then there was Feast. That one is, a classic one, which I think we just watched recently.
We had. That's why I said we literally just
Yeah, we just
like
kind of watched it. Yeah, we just watched it recently.
You put it on at like 10 a.m.
Yeah, well, some days you just have to put on Feast at 10 a.m. Yeah. Then there was this like Homegrown Horrors Volume 1 collection from Vinegar Syndrome. Not an ad. But they put out boutique DVDs and Blu-rays. And just hashtag, yeah, actually, I would be okay with them sponsoring us because I buy their shit anyway. So this was a collection that had Beyond Dream's Door, which is a horror movie from 1980. Winter Beast, which is a crazy-ass movie from 1992. And Fatal Exam, which is a horror movie about college students and, kind of very Halloween typical things from 1988. Did not choose that one. She did not. Other options were Intruder, another Canadian classic, or I think that's from Michigan, actually. I could be wrong. The Hole by Joe Dante. She didn't want to watch that one. No Joe Dante. Get out of here. And a shot-on Shidio movie called Evil Night, which looks pretty bad. So kind of saw your logic there. I think you went with the best choice of all of them, honestly. So Slither, here's what the back of the DVD says, because we own this movie, so this is a fun one. Prepare yourself for this terrifying, twisted, and chilling film that critics are calling the most entertaining horror movie in years. That is a quote from Joe Williams from the St. Louis Post-Dispatch. From the writer of 2004's Dawn of the Dead, we'll talk about that here in a minute, comes the deliciously demented story of an unnamed evil wreaking havoc on a small town intent on devouring all life on Earth. This dark force is infecting anyone in its path. Now it's up to the local sheriff, Bill Party, played by Nathan Fillion, and his team to stop the spread of rampant devastation and shocking mutilation before it's too late. And it comes with deleted scenes, extended scenes, and a gag reel, which I don't think we watched any of the bonus features.
I know, I've seen them all at some point in my life. But
yes, this is
probably been a good decade bare minimum. I mean, I owned that movie when it first came out.
It was extremely scratched up to the point that I didn't know if it would work. Because this is a movie that I believe you have had now for over almost 20 years, since this came out in 2006, 2007, something like that. So almost 20 years. Yeah. It's been a long time. Crazy. So this was written and directed by James Gunn, who is one of your favorites. What do you love so much about James Gunn?
I'm trying to think about okay, keep in mind, back in the day, youngsters, with physical media, we sometimes like would have to get excited about movies through like things like magazines and stuff. So like I think one of the reasons I actually like started looking into him is because I read an interview in Fangoria and he was fucking hysterical.
I could see that. I could see that.
I was like, I'm a gun girl, like from then on. And since then, I haven't watched the superhero stuff really, just because I'm not a big superhero person.
No, you're not. Neither am I, though.
But I like this. I really like this. This was also a great time in history. I had just moved out of my house. I had a job, like my parents' house. I mean, I had a job, so like every 2 weeks on payday, like tasting.
Yeah, I was gonna say this was like a good time to be alive. 2006, just you and I had around the same age, people of our age group, had just graduated high school, either just getting your first jobs or just going to college for the first time. Like everyone had good, decent money. Had Obama taken office yet? No, but we were almost to. Obama was about to.
Yeah, but Obama was. Oh wait.
Yeah, so all the Republicans who said Obama inherited Bush's economy, this would be the Bush economy they were referring to.
We were in a recession, but we were in a different recession because keep in mind, people are not paid much more than they were then, but everything is literally like 4 times as much. Like you could still go, like as a single person, I could still go to Aldi's and get a week's worth of groceries, like a hefty week's worth of groceries for like $30.
Yeah.
I mean, it was a different time. I didn't have like a lot of money, but it was a good time to be excited about things because like it took time to get there. You had time to really savor the moment.
Yeah, before like I think like before streaming became popular, you had physical.
Just such instant dopamine now,
Well, also like you had physical media only, so you had to care more about the things that you bought because it was like I want this because I'm going to put it on my shelf, and and if you hated it, a lot of people like Hastings was full of used movies because people would return the shit they hated or sell it back to them or whatever. So. I came into knowing James Gunn not through Fangoria, but through Trauma movies. I had a roommate who was really into Trauma films, Toxic Avenger, who gets kind of brought up in this thing as a reference. But a lot of not all of them, but a lot of those movies were written by James Gunn, or he contributed some. So he wrote a lot of things. So like Romeo and Juliet, some Sergeant Kabuki Man stuff, and some of the other stuff as well. And then his like other movies that he did were 13 Ghosts, which is a really good movie, which apparently he did uncredited additional writing on, so that's interesting. The Scooby-Doo movie, which for some reason some people have like a real soft spot for that movie. I am not one of them, but so. I love old-fashioned Scooby-Doo, the Hanna-Barbera cartoons. That's the Scooby-Doo I like. I don't want live-action Scooby-Doo at all. I have no interest in live-action Scooby-Doo. Dawn of the Dead is the remake is an experience unto itself.
I love that movie. You do not like that movie.
I don't like it compared to the George Romero one now. I think it's not anywhere. It's like its own weird thing, and it's just I don't know. That's not my favorite. I saw it in theaters, and I went with a bunch of people who were like really, really into it. And it's not bad. Like we own it, like 2 different copies of it. So like I'll watch it, but it's just not my favorite movie. No,
it's fucking good ass movie.
I think I like it, except for like there's just large chunks of it that I'm just like, this is kind of stupid. Like this whole thing is just kind of stupid. I'm stupid, like you. Well, possibly. Then in 2000, that was 2004. The next big thing he did is Slither, like we're going to be talking about tonight. Then a bunch of other shorts and things until he did a couple things called Super, which is kind of a superhero movie that I don't think you've ever watched. Did you ever watch that one? It's got one of the guys from Office in it. It's kind of violent, actually. It like takes a kind of a sickening turn towards the end there. Then he did Lollipop Chainsaw, which was a video game. Then he started doing, as you said, a lot of the superhero movies with Guardians of the Galaxy 2. He did the Belko Experiment in between there, which was kind of a cool little horror movie. Did you ever watch that one? It's the one about like there's like an office building and they like release and they have to like do experiments on like violence in the office place. It's kind of anyway. It was its own separate thing. Then more superhero stuff: Suicide Squad, Guardians of the Galaxy 3, and going up to Superman, which you and I watched together. And you didn't really have any particular interest in one way or the other. It was kind of like more of a movie that you watched that it was kind of like, well, that happened. It was okay.
Yeah.
I liked it, but it wasn't your thing. But you have like no interest in superhero movies, which is fair. So James Gunn is doing this movie. Originally, this movie was going to be called Wiggle, but but they changed it to they changed it to Slither. So probably for the best. The cast here is, speaking of Superman, in Superman was playing one of the Green Lanterns was Nathan Fillion, and he's here as well playing one of the leading characters. Joining him is Elizabeth Banks, who is one of my favorite actresses. I love Elizabeth Banks. I think she's funny in a lot of the things she does, and I just think she's really funny, especially in Cocaine Bear. I really like that movie. I think whenever we watched it, I don't remember if you really liked it or not. It was Ray Liotta, and it's about the cocaine that gets lost.
I know the story of the Cocaine Bear. I am the one that tells you the story of the cocaine.
Okay, well, I'm just reminding you of the story of said Cocaine Bear. But yes, yeah.
You don't forget about Cocaine Bear once you know about Cocaine Bear.
Once you cocaine, you don't
I
bear.
am sad, though, because they had a youth.
Yes, well, he was high on cocaine, I guess.
Come down. Yeah, that was like...
But at what cost?
Well, listen, back in my 20s, if people thought that way, I would have been out back getting used.
Other people in the movie are... You are cocaine. Other people in the movie are Don Thompson, Greg Henry, who shows up in a bunch of James Gunn movies. It's okay. And then Michael Rooker, who shows up here playing a villain role, which is awesome. He's a great villain. Obviously in the Walking Dead series, but you and I know him because one of the first movies that you and I, like when we first started dating, that we both mutually agreed was great was Henry Portrait of a Serial Killer. And Michael Rooker is all fucking...
If I say great, terrifying, disturbing.
Yeah, but it's just, it's a well-made movie. And he's like a big part of that, his performance in that.
That and great at a blockbuster was not what I expected to watch.
Yeah, see, you had a very different experience to that. I didn't watch that movie until I had graduated high school. I was like first year of college. I remember I was hanging out with Jamie, and I went to Hastings, and I had looked up top horror movies to watch, and obviously Henry Portrait of a Serial Killer was at the top of that list of a lot of top horror movies to watch. Yeah, I was. Well, I was kind of blindsided too because I went into it thinking it was going to be like a horror movie like I had seen, like Halloween, like Nightmare on Elm Street, something like that. And then as I'm watching it and I'm seeing what's happening, I'm like, oh, this is just extremely fucked up. I
was like,
this is a different kind of horror.
Younger than 13, as my friend Shauna and I, we rented horror movies as youngsters do.
Yeah.
Picked that one up. Sounds good. Thought it was going to be more of like a drama. Suspense.
Yeah, I was thinking it was going to be more of like a Halloween.
We grabbed the bottle, us both looking at each other, and was like, yeah. Like we were not prepared. We both understood. We were far too young to understand.
Yeah. Michael Rooker is a severely underrated actor. He's great in that movie.
He plays a bad guy great.
He is. It's weird seeing him play non-villains. Like he just plays villains in something. Like Mallrats. He's the villain. He's the bad guy in Mallrats. The one that's giving them shit. It's
yeah. People can't trust them.
You can't trust the bald people. Yeah. Well, there goes a good portion of our audience. Sorry. Other people that are in this movie in little bit parts that are kind of fun is Rob Zombie's voice shows up for a moment there. Then you get Lloyd Kaufman referencing trauma movies. This movie is kind of like a really expensive trauma movie, except it doesn't have the car wreck scene. But other than that, it's got a lot of trauma-isms that are really fun. His wife at the time, James Gunn, Jenna Fisher, shows up as a little cameo as the kind of a person on the radio for a moment there. Who at the time, she was probably the biggest person in this movie because she was just starting with The Office that was kind of taken off. Elsewhere, we get Corb Lund. He had a little bit role. He is a country music singer who I've actually seen a concert a few times. He came to Texas back in the day when I was living there. Some really good Corb Lund songs are Bible on the Dash, which is a really great song about the importance of keeping a Bible on your dash in case you get pulled over by the police, as well as The Gothest Girl I Can, which is about trying to hook up with the gothiest girl you can, which is a sentiment that I could try to relate to at different times in my life, because that was also a similar mentality I may have had in 2006, trying to get the gothest girl I can. Speaking of 2006, yeah. Oh, I married one, so it turned out okay. Speaking of 2006, this movie came out in March 31st of 2006. Do you want to guess what else was going on in the world on March 31st of 2006? Any guesses?
My mom's birthday.
That was your mom's
birthday.
No, there's other things going on. Jamaica had its first female prime minister. Israel was in the middle of bombing Gaza, so not much has changed in 20 years. The U.S. was in the middle of bombing Iraq, so... Well, U.S. Who's counting, right? U.S. was bombing Iraq at this time, so, there's a thing that we kind of stopped doing for a little while. Maybe we'll go back to it eventually. Who knows?
Sure we will.
Probably. This was also Cesar Chavez Day in California. So there's that. And it was International Transgender Day of Visibility across the, people who celebrate, I guess, in the international world. The top songs, as we have said a couple times now, Billboard is now behind a paywall, so you can't just access the old songs of what was on the chart, so you have to just kind of go off of a couple of things, and after that, it kind of locks you out unless you're willing to pay for it, which I am not, because it just reeks of capitalistic dread. I cannot give them my money to get information. But here is what I was able to gather. Sean Paul was the number one song in America with Temperature. Do you remember that song? Because I do not. Yeah, I had no idea that song. I cannot tell you at all. The top country song was one that you are familiar with, Living in Fast Forward by Kenny Chesney. Hell yeah. The number one alternative song in America was Worldwide Suicide by Pearl Jam. I remember that song, and I remember it kind of getting annoying after a while. Mm-hmm. Yeah. 2000s Pearl Jam is not really my thing, but I know some people out there really like it. In Canada, because that's where this movie was from, Canada, the top couple songs was Sick Neo by Pink. I don't have any idea what the hell that song is.
Zero recollection of that.
I may have heard it before. I've heard a couple Pink songs. I don't hate Pink, but I couldn't tell you the names of most of her songs. And another big alternative song in Canada at the time, actually two big alternative songs in Canada at the time. One was by the group City and Colour, and another was a solo song called The Grace by Dallas Green, who was also in City and Colour. And those were his kind of like alternative leaning bands. His post-hardcore band was Alexi on Fire, which was also a big Canadian thing there. Do you ever listen to Alexi on Fire? Oh, I used to love them so much. They had some good songs. They were kind of like a emo, screamo, like stuff like that. It was good. It was very Canadian, very, very Canadian. The names of the songs were The Grace and Savior Scissors. Very, very 2006 at the time. But yeah, those were the big songs that were in the charts. And this movie makes references to many, many other movies. Some of the big references you get are in the naming. You get references to The Thing and Big Trouble in Little China, specifically Kurt Russell's characters. And the Toxic Avenger is also referenced, and beyond just Lloyd Kaufman showing up, it's also like visually referenced. I think someone's watching Toxic Avenger in one scene. A Nightmare on Elm Street is visually referenced with the little goo in the bathtub, similar to the hand that shows up in Nightmare on Elm Street. We also get references to R.L. Stine in the Goosebumps books, as well as the director of Basket Case and Brain Damage is also visually referenced. Predator as well, so there's that one. And then plot-wise, this movie is very, very, very similar to the movie Night of the Creeps from the 1980s as well. Yeah, it's got a lot of similarities to that, which is okay. If you're going to rip off a movie, you might as well rip off a movie that probably most people seeing this movie have never seen before. I feel like
we're all in the same camp.
I think there's a lot of people that have never seen Night of the Creeps that have seen Slither.
Yeah, losers.
Fucking losers indeed. Well, we'll be back in just a minute, you fucking losers, because we're going to take a break and come back and talk about the plot of this movie as we go probably walk our dog so she'll stop barking. See y'all in just a moment. Hey everyone, just wanted to come in and say thank y'all so much for listening. If you are so inclined, please give us a like and subscribe, or give us a rate and review wherever you are, whether it's Apple, GoodPod, Spotify, Amazon, whatever place you decide to listen at, YouTube, whatever. It does help quite a bit, and it will let us know what kind of things you guys like us talking about, because we're going to keep doing this, and it's helpful to know what kind of shit you're into. So let us know. Thanks. Bye. Well, we're back, and we were eating Halloween candy. I've got a Three Musketeers. What are you eating, Snickers? Three Musketeers are better than I remember. Not one I ate a lot as a kid, but pretty fucking good, man. Pretty good. So this movie cost, according to IMDb, $15 million. That's an estimate. It made $12,834,936. So it almost broke even. Basically a tax write-off. Not too bad. Not too bad. Not too bad at all for a kind of more expensive trauma movie. At least that's kind of how I think of it as, at least. Here, let's go over the plot a little bit. Borrowing from Wikipedia, as we watched this last night, so some of it is a little fresh on the mind, and some of it I need a little recollection on. So at the beginning of the movie, we have like this teacher, played by Elizabeth Banks, and she is married to Michael Rooker, of all people. Right. Which is a pairing that visually is kind of bizarre. I'm not going to lie. Elizabeth Banks is not the woman I would think would be married to a man that looks like Michael Rooker.
That's exactly the point of the plot.
Well, yeah, but even when he's not possessed by like an evil parasite, he looks kind of like an evil motherfucker. You know, at no point do you look at Michael Rooker and you're like, "That's a good, wholesome man." He looks like he's up to no good, even before he's up to no good. So anyway, before he gets infected, I think it's like is it their anniversary and he wants to get a little frisky?
No,
it's just been a while.
I think he's just a horny old man. Yeah.
He's just horny and it's been a while. Yeah, because he keeps mentioning like, it's been a while, honey, and she's like, I can't just get in the mood. I don't have an on button, and then he does the little booby flip that you were that immediately triggered you last night.
So many times. In a minute, I forgot that he licks her nipple. No wonder she doesn't want to have sex with you. Jesus.
So that doesn't turn her on.
Well, somehow that doesn't do it. Just one little nipple flip.
So rather than going to jerk off in the shower like most married men would do, he instead goes out for a walk. And
go drinking.
This walk leads to him getting drinking, and then he runs into like someone that he used to know.
He runs into a young lady's younger sister. Mm-hmm. She was apparently quite a bit younger, because she makes a creepy point of saying, he says, "You must have only been, what, 10, 11? And then she goes, "I was game, and my first thought was someone has abused that child." Yeah.
Gives him some information about how she had a crush on him when she was a kid. I guess she knew him when she was quite a bit younger.
He says so.
Or maybe not that quite a bit younger.
And he dated this sister.
Yes.
He also makes a point to mention, what does he see in her that it doesn't in me? I believe she may have called her.
Something like that. Yeah, something like that. Yeah. Very trauma-esque. Like a lot of this is like a lot of stuff you would see.
It's also very like 2006-esque.
Yeah, definitely of the time. Yeah. So they don't end up hooking up yet, but they do end up going out to the woods with the intent of pretty much hooking up. It's only when they're out there that he pumps the brakes and then discovers the alien life form or whatever this Slither creature is. I don't think we ever really get told where it came from other than it's not of this earth.
I feel like, I was led to believe extraterrestrial is that for.
Yeah, it's an extraterrestrial that comes from a meteorite, but I don't think we ever get any information about where it's coming from. It's just, it's something else. Yeah. So, he gets infected. Good old, what's his face? Grant. That's his name. Yeah, Grant. And so this leads to him coming back, and him and Starla, his wife, Elizabeth Banks' character, who's basically like supposed to kind of be the embodiment of like every Hitchcock woman ever, because like the entire movie is obsessed with her, and everyone in the movie is obsessed with her. And all of the little zombies at the end of the movie are obsessed with her. It's very Hitchcockian, where like one woman is like the obsession of everybody.
With her because Grant is the main vessel who is obsessed with her.
Yeah, no, I know that. But I was like, even James Gunn has admitted, like when he wrote it, he made it very Hitchcockian, where it's like there's one woman that like everyone in the town is obsessed with, and she is supposed to be, at least physically, like way more beautiful than everybody else around her, which is Elizabeth Banks, kind of. Is a lot more beautiful than everyone else around her in this movie. With, that was kind of the intention. Calm down. Thank you. So then this leads to he attacks her, right? Doesn't he attack her?
No, he gets it looks like almost like electrocuted. Like his body does like that weird
Oh yeah. And
I can't remember, does she run away? They separate.
Yeah, they end up separated, and then Grant flees.
And he gets that little boop.
Yeah, he gets the little boop. And then this is when the police and them try to, track her down, and this is when the police officers... Well, I'm skipping chunks of it, yeah. Okay, well, I'm sorry. I didn't know we wanted to go note by note. Okay, well. So...
There's a movie in my brain.
According to Wikipedia... The next part says, during the search for Grant, a posse led by the police chief, Bill Party, discovers Brenda, whose body has become inhumanly... Brenda was the character that the girl that he met up with, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, Brenda, whose body has become inhumanly bloated from the larva growing inside of her. The slug-like larva bursts from her body and infests everyone in town except Starla. This is where you get all the zombies. Starla's okay. Bill, the Mayor Jack McCready, that's the reference to Kurt Russell's characters, and the teenager Kyle Strudemeyer, who those infected by the larva become part of a hive mind controlled by Grant, who intends to consume all life forms until his consciousness remains. There you go. So that's kind of the middle section summarized according to Wikipedia. And at this point, Grant is like a giant, amorphous, huge blob of
because they
things.
All connect to. They all squish into him and create this one intestine.
Yeah, it's it's very gross. The special effects and the makeup are really, really well done. And I think both of them would get awards for those things, like at the Saturn Awards and whatnot. So they were obviously well done. Well done there as well, and people liked him beyond just us. I really liked the design of the weird alien creature as it takes over, and it still has the people's faces and stuff. So that's kind of cool how they did that. It does have some Thing John Carpenter kind of vibes with the little kind of towards the end of the thing with the dogs and how they're all one amorphous blob together. So. They decide that killing Grant will eliminate the rest of the aliens before they are attacked by basically the zombies. But this plan has some complications because, this movie is supposed to be a comedy in kind of a lot of ways.
It is very fun.
So it has a lot of Big Trouble in Little China vibes where the cop, Nathan Fillion, it wants to be the hero, but he's terrible at it. And instead, the actual hero is kind of just Elizabeth Banks. Kind of being the one that is kind of, honestly, maybe the most heroic of the entire bunch of them. But I really like how they set that up. That I love movies where there's an ineffectual hero, where you think someone's gonna like save the day, and then it's like, oh, actually, no, that person has no idea what they're doing. Because I think that's kind of more like reality based.
Yeah, men are in that. That's pretty good.
Yeah. So the next part, it says, armed with a grenade to kill the monster. Armed with a grenade to kill the monster, Bill and Kyle head to Grant's home, where the infected are being absorbed and increasingly mutated by Grant. This is also from Wikipedia, like I said. Jack and others are turned into breeders for more larvae, while Grant keeps Starla uninfected in the hope of regaining her love. And that's kind of where you kind of get the whole, like, everyone in the town's obsessed with her. After waking up, Starla arms herself with a sharp brush and goes downstairs to find Grant. This is where you get that really cool scene where she like convinces him that she loves him, and she says like, for better, he says like, for better or worse, and then she says like, yeah, for better or worse, because at this point she has seen him mutated a couple times. And earlier in the movie, when she meets him in the field, she tells him like, I'm willing to accept you for better or worse, and then some more people show up and kind of ruin the whole.
They shoot at him.
Yeah, they kind of start the whole thing, which is kind of a silly scene because that guy walks up with a gun, and like, why wouldn't the police be like, put the fucking gun down, like getting?
I mean, there's like 4 police officers.
Yeah, but within seconds of that guy just walking up with a pistol, like the cops would be like, put the fucking gun down. Like you can't just walk up to a bunch of cops with, at least maybe now, I don't know, 2025, maybe now you can walk up with a gun to a bunch of cops and they'll just be like, hey, whatever. It's 2025. It's just what we do now. I don't know, but yeah, they don't tell him to do anything, so that kind of messes up that whole little plan that they have. But yeah, now she is telling him, or he is telling her once again, like, for better or worse, and then she fucking stabs him in the neck as he kind of goes to hug him, and this makes him angry, and he throws her across the room. Boom, across the room, yeah. And then this is when Billy and Kyle, they show up and start shooting some aliens. And then he tries to use the grenade, and this is where you get some Big Trouble in Little China references, because he tries to use the grenade, but he can't do it. And he just ends up getting knocked into the pool where it does nothing. And then and you get all the tentacles and everything. Is really cool design. Like, this is all really fun stuff. It's a good horror movie. Good, cool, like, good horror movie shit. Like, this is exactly what you're looking for if you're looking for a horror movie for Halloween. Unfortunately, this movie is not streaming like anywhere. I think the only place you can watch it is Paramount, and that's one of those like streaming services that's kind of more on the expensive side. So otherwise, you're kind of stuck to the DVDs, which, hey, I guess you got to be lucky and have some physical media still around.
Everyone should be investing more in this.
I think that's not a bad idea either. So eventually, Starla, his wife, is the one who shoots Grant, who is filled with flammable gas at this point, and this kills him, and it explodes the rest of the aliens, and saves Bill. With everyone else in town dead, the 3 survivors head off to seek help. And interestingly enough, I didn't really think of this as a pre-apocalyptic movie, but I guess it kind of does fit the qualifications, because if the aliens would have, won, then I guess they would have just taken over the world, and, that would have been the end of things. And then in the post credits, there's a scene where the cat becomes infected, and it's supposed to like set up for a sequel that never happened, or at least hasn't happened yet. Maybe one day we'll get a Slither 2 infected cat movie, which might be fun. I don't know what that would look like. James Gunn has kind of vehemently not done a lot of animal stuff involving them getting hurt, so I don't know what he would do recently. With that in mind, the dog was very much safe in Superman. So
I feel like I have this weird memory of also following him on MySpace and him like having a very affectionate relationship with his like outside squirrel.
Huh.
I may be making that up, but maybe I should Google a James Gunn squirrel.
Well, before we get out of here, let's talk about a couple of other connections, because we talked about the main one of the Night of the Creeps, but interestingly enough, on Wikipedia, it mentions it directly. And Fred Decker's 1986 horror comedy Night of the Creeps, according to journalist Steve Palpoli, it says, when the trailer for Slither came out, internet boards and movies suddenly lit up with protests from legions of fans of the 1986 film Night of the Creeps. Alien slugs that turned people into zombies, they cried. What a ripoff. I bring this up not because I think Slither, which is a tongue-in-cheek pastiche of at least a dozen 80s horror films, which is kind of what this is, could really be considered a ripoff of any of them, which is kind of where I land on this. I don't really think of this as... I think of this as like a love letter to 80s horror movies. If you've watched a bunch of 80s horror movies, then you're going to catch a lot of these references. Like the references to Thing and Big Trouble in Little China and the Hitchcock stuff and all of the 80s, like Night of the Creeps, Brain Damage, Basket Case, all the ones that we mentioned, Nightmare on Elm Street. Like, if you've seen all these movies, which if you're a horror movie fan, you probably have, then you're gonna love this because it's kind of that all in a nutshell, like taking all of those things and synthesizing them into something kind of fun and cool. I really love this movie. It's not my favorite horror movie. It's one that I oftentimes forget about because
there's always in the back of my mind.
I think there's just been so many other movies that have come out since it that I also really like that are similar, like horror comedies, that maybe sometimes I just forget about this one. But it is a good one. And watching it again for the first time, I don't know how many years now. It's been a while since we'd watched it. At least like 5 years. I don't remember the last time we had seen it. It's been a while. It made me realize or kind of remember, like, oh yeah, this is such a good fucking movie that I should watch more often. So I think maybe we should keep Slither more often in the rotation. So any comments or last minute feelings about Slither before we say our goodbyes? No. Movie. It's a very good movie. So hopefully you guys have a good Halloween and staying safe and having fun, eating some candy like we were. We enjoyed our little candy and have a good time this Halloween. And we'll see y'all next time. Bye, y'all.
Bye.
Hot damn, college boy. Thank you so much for listening. Every single week we come back with a new movie about the end of the world, or a movie about the beginning of the end of the world, or what happens after the end of the world, or maybe one day we just decide to watch Showgirls. Who knows? Right? But every week we are coming back, and thank you so much for stopping in this week and listening to the whole episode and hearing our thoughts on whatever train wreck of a movie I chose to force my friend to watch this week. I'm a good person like that. And thank you for also being a good person. There you go. If you want to be a really, really fucking cool person, which you obviously are, why don't you give us a like and actually, more importantly, give us a subscribe. I find that to be more important. I don't know if the algorithm says it is. I don't really give a shit. But thank you for your patronage either way and clicking all the things and doing all the stuff. Bye. Thanks.